What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back for another review of Love and Marriage Detroit. This is Season 2, Episode 4, and the episode is titled No Love, No Grace, All Shade. Let's jump right on into the episode because we start this episode off with Latoya and Christina. They're still going back and forth, right? Now, Latoya, she refuses to say who her source is when it comes to I heard Christina is this type of person. I heard that Christina's manipulative. Yet she refuses to say who her sources are. Well, girl, that's because we already know your source is Kimnita Bynum. We already know it's Kimnita. It's okay. So then she goes on to give like this little weak apology. And then Anthony, her husband, is like, I just want everybody to get along. And it's like, yeah, you want everybody to get along so y'all can film this show. Because it doesn't work when you have a few people on one side, a few people on the other. Like, it just becomes a mess when it comes to filming the show if everybody can't film together. Now, for some reason, I did not realize that all of the women on this show are preachers' kids. I did not realize that for some reason, and it makes absolute sense as to why each one of them are the way that they are. Kobe, Christina, and Latoya have some ways about them that definitely give off preachers' kids. Now it makes sense. But nonetheless, we end that scene with the ladies hugging it out. Okay, we know it's all fake. Moving on, we see Kobe and her daughter. Y'all, they are going to go see Russell at the gym. And basically, this whole scene was them not being able to film at their house because of scheduling conflicts. And I'm pretty sure they were like, listen, we need y'all to film this scene, so bundle the baby up and go on over to the gym where Russell is. So, like I said, she gets there, whatever. And Russell, he ends up telling Kobe like a full list of things that he had on his plate that day. He's like, I went to work, I had some meetings, I went to school, I came here to try to, do some touch-ups at the gym, like all this stuff. And here goes Kobe. At least you can get out more than I can, because I can't do that. I have to figure out what we're going to do with our daughter. Girl, I'm tired. Could you please get a nanny? This man literally just told you a full list of things that was on his plate as far as like being at work, because he does still work a 9 to 5. He goes to school and he's trying to put in some type of work in this business with this gym. And like my whole thing with Kobe is you decided to be a stay-at-home content creator. That was on you. That's the career that you chose. So you can't be mad at him because he's working all day. And like, I don't know, like in my mind, I'm just kind of like, Kobe, what are you complaining for? Could you just ask for a nanny? Because I feel like that would solve a lot of your issues. See if y'all can get some help a couple of days, you know what I'm saying, so you can get a break from being in the house. Because you coming at Russell when he's not really doing anything that's like outrageous to me, I'm confused. Because she's acting as if Russell is like Bravo. You know how like Bravo, he works at the club, so like you kind of like out and about, popping bottles or whatever that you do at the club. That is not what Russell is doing. So I just don't understand Kobe. So moving on, she talks about how basically he takes on other people's crap, and her and her daughter, they suffer from that. And honestly, this whole scene when she said that, I said, oh, okay, cool. Russell told you about this little counseling session that he had with Brandon and Christina, and now y'all have to film your reaction of it. Okay, cool. So we have Russell telling Kobe, I had this counseling session with Brandon and Christina. He's telling this to her as if it's the first time that she heard it. And it wasn't. It was very clear because she was trying to put on, all these like faces. And I'm just like, girl, that you heard this stuff last night when y'all was pillow talking. Cut it out. But Kobe, she does say that she wouldn't wish that on her worst enemy, to be going through a divorce or whatever Christina and Brandon are going through. Now, moving on, we see Christina. She is helping her daughters with their homework, and I must say, Brandon and Christina have some beautiful daughters, very beautiful little girls, and Brandon ends up coming over. Now, according to Brandon, he's ready to come home, yet he doesn't even have his wedding ring. According to him, it's somewhere around the house. Yeah, okay, sir. Nonetheless, we learned that Brandon and Christina, they ended up spending Thanksgiving together because, family probably came in town. They don't want nobody all in their business. And to me, it's giving more than thanks was given, if you know what I'm saying. So now they're trying to see where this relationship is going to go. Now, according to Christina, she has learned how to do a lot of things on her own since being away from Brandon. And I'm actually kind of glad because, girl, yeah, you need to get some independence away from Brandon and not lean so much into what he got going on. But within this conversation, it feels like Christina, she kind of is ready for him to come home because I think that she thinks that he's changed. However, in his confessional, Brandon is like, oh, my wife is accepting me for who I am. I'm like, wait, no. She thinks that you changed. She thinks that you're putting in an effort to change. So again, Brandon is playing games on Christina's top. Y'all, I really hope that in real life, in real time, especially since this season started with the stuff that Brandon said, I hope they're not together. Because Christina, I promise you can do so much better than Brandon. Now, this is the part that got me, y'all. The little girls come back into the room because at one point they left. And honestly, I was over the conversation at that point because I feel like this was a conversation that the little girls didn't need to be a part of, especially the whole like, oh, daddy needs to do better or whatever. Like, we don't need to go through all this with these little girls. I feel like if you guys haven't made a decision on where Brandon and Christina stand, then try to keep things as normal as possible because you guys are cordial in this moment. And if dad's not in the house, okay, like just say dad is working out of town or something. I don't know, but I just feel like this conversation was just not appropriate for the kids. Like, I know that nowadays everybody wants to be so transparent with their kids, but it's like your kids are like 4. Like the whole, oh, you kicked daddy out of the house, like that was just too much for me. But we're gonna go ahead and move on. So Russell, he ends up gathering the guys for some golf. Now, y'all, we already know Kobe gonna have a problem with this because how dare he go play golf with his friends when she can't get out of the house because she's an influencer. Nonetheless, Marcel, now keep in mind, he came in a little bit later. It was Brandon, Anthony, Russell, and Bravo, right? So when Marcel ends up showing up, we can see that Bravo low-key have a problem with him. And not so much him, but more so his wife. Because Kenita Bynum absolutely tried to ruin Bravo's event with all that argument she was doing with Christina. Because she would not stop. But, the men, they want no issues with each other. I mean, even to the point where Brandon, he invited everybody to Christina's birthday surprise. But, of course, he told Marcel, like, listen, they don't get along, so I'm not going to extend that invitation to you. And Marcel absolutely understanding. So I'm like, okay, cool. No Kenita Bynum, no Marcel at the party. Bet. Now, let's go ahead to this next scene because this is where LaToya, she decided to throw a little brunch for the ladies. And in this moment, I realized that Anthony and LaToya, they think that they were the producers of the show. Because they are always trying to create scenes at this point. And I'm just like, okay, could y'all just let things flow naturally? Now, anyways, the first person to arrive to the brunch was Kobe. So LaToya and Kobe started talking or whatever. And come to find out, Brandon invited them to go ring shopping with him for Christina. Again, why are we always trying to make it seem like Christina ain't got no damn friends? Because, I'm sorry, she just got cool with these ladies. They're not friends like that. Brandon, why do you need them to go ring shopping? It doesn't even make sense. But whatever, they say that they're going to go. Next thing you know, y'all, here come Kenita Bynum in another one of her church outfits. It's like, damn, girl, you want to be a Clark sister so bad. But nonetheless, I just feel like these ladies already knew who was coming to this brunch. Everybody except for Christina. Because she was the only one that was actually surprised that Kim was there. So, nonetheless, we have LaToya. She's trying to clear her name yet again, saying that, I didn't bring Kim around to come for you, Christina, even though we all know that that's a lie. And it was proven in this scene because for some reason, Kim was trying to rewrite history and make it seem like she wasn't coming for Christina. But Christina was like, no, you came for my character. You had a lot of stuff to say when we were at Bravo's thing. And it got to the point where baby Kim was defeated. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't lie anymore. She couldn't deny that she was brought onto the show just to come for Christina. So she, at one point, just kind of froze and then tried to muster up some tears, talking about how, you really hurt me in the past and all this stuff. And I'm with Christina. So how did I hurt you? Name the specifics. But of course, she can't even do that. I'm like, Kimnita, you gotta go. I'm sorry, y'all. I am not feeling that lady. Do y'all like her? Do y'all like Kim and her husband? They just don't seem like a good fit. They're a bit boring, and she can't stand on business. Like, if you was gonna be messy, talk about people, you gotta stand on it. So now it seems like the ladies will be moving forward as far as Christina and Kim go. I don't see how, because we didn't get no answers as to what Christina actually did to this woman. But next thing you know, the ladies, they start talking about all of their mommy woes. Like, oh, it's so hard to be a mom. I got to do everything. The whole spiel. Moving on. We get to Bravo and his wife. My question is, why wasn't Bravo's wife, Lakita, at that brunch? Like, I would like to see her with the other ladies more if they're going to be a part of the cast. Moving on, they basically have this conversation because he plans on going to a football game and then probably going to one of his clubs. She wants to know his whereabouts. Like, dude, where are you going to be? Are you going somewhere after the game? She just wants to know where he is. And not so much to keep tabs on him to be like, oh, are you out with another woman or anything like that? But because she has her own trauma, which is her father passed away because I guess he was out and about in the streets at night, and I guess he may have been murdered or something. So she just doesn't want that type of experience for her daughters, which I completely understand, because who wants to have to raise their kids by themselves, and because the other parent got murdered or some other type of senseless crime, you know what I mean? And they're no longer here. So I completely understand that. But also it's kind of like, Bravo, he's in the nightlife. Like, that is his job. That is his career. The fact that man said he had, 6 different clubs? Like, that's kind of crazy. I'm like, that must be hella hectic, because that's a lot of clubs. But yeah, I think that they can kind of work this out. All he got to do is send her a text to be like, hey, babe, I'm somewhere over here, or hey, I'm at the club, or whatever. Honestly, I feel like this was just something that they decided to talk about on the show. I don't think this is actually an issue in this couple's relationship. I feel like they probably don't have that much going on, but we want to make it seem like there's something, Now, I must say, I'm very curious to see what these two are going to bring to the show, just because we've met Bravo before. We saw a lot more of him last season, and now, they're supposed to be cast members, so I'm hoping that they have some storylines that they can bring to help, progress the show. Now, y'all, let's go ahead and wrap this on up, because we get Brandon. He is shopping for this ring, and for me, he invited way too many people. First, we have Christina's niece. I think her name was Trinity. Yeah, Trinity. And she was there. We also had Chelsea there, who's actually Christina's friend. And then here comes LaToya. And you can already see that there's a little bit of tension between LaToya and Chelsea when she got there. Then we have Kobe coming through. I'm like, yo, all these people just for one little ring? You didn't need all of this. So here's the thing. He lets the ladies know that, of course, him and Christina have been going through it. He trying to, get back in her good graces. He thinks that the ring is definitely going to be something that she deserves. And that's why they all there. They're there to help him pick it out, right? So before we could even get started looking at rings, okay? Because I think it was mentioned that he was going to give the ring to Christina at her birthday party. So Chelsea basically is like, well, I need to talk to you. And she's referring to LaToya because basically LaToya said some things about her at the reunion. And Chelsea, she calls out LaToya and she's like, where are the receipts that I said anything about your business and all of this stuff. Now, we already know that LaToya is not going to produce any type of receipts because she never does, okay? But here's my thing. I know that there are some people who feel like this conversation shouldn't have been happening at this moment, but honestly, it should have. This was the perfect place and space for this conversation to be had because, number one, we were not at an event. I would rather this conversation happen now instead of it happening at Christina's birthday party, because how many events have been ruined on these reality shows where conversation should have been had prior to the event? And that way things can be, water under the bridge and we can move forward. Also, we cannot forget that, number one, Chelsea has gotten into it with Anthony at that one wine tasting, I think it was, for LaToya, where he kept talking crazy to her. But on top of that, LaToya, you said some things about her on a public platform, which was on the reunion. So yes, when I see you on this TV show, we're going to have that conversation on a public platform, because I'm going to try to prove you wrong in what you said. I think that's just common sense. So then you have Kobe, who decided to keep jumping into the conversation when nobody was talking to her. And Chelsea is like, girl, I'm not even talking to you. This is specifically to LaToya. But of course, Kobe, she tried to take up for her friend. And she ended up getting called the Two Stooges, okay? Chelsea called Kobe and LaToya the Two Stooges. And after that, Kobe, she ended up walking out. And I'm just like, Kobe, don't get offended that you got called a stooge when really you shouldn't have jumped in. This had nothing to do with you. Let these grown women handle what they got to handle. Now, one thing that I found interesting is that LaToya was quick to say, well, you know what? I'm not going to go to Christina's party. And I'm with Chelsea. If the party's going to be about Christina, this issue is not going to be a topic there, which is why she's confronting you now. So that way we don't have no issues at the party. Everything should be at least cordial. But no, that's not what happened. I feel like, honestly, in that moment, instead of LaToya saying, I don't want to come to the party, because we realized that she didn't want to go in the first place because she don't like Christina, she could have just been like, you know what, Chelsea, I think that maybe we should have a conversation about this at another time because we're here to pick rings with Brandon or something. But I just feel like that was a whole cop-out for her to go ahead and not want to go to the party. But yeah, that was pretty much what happened on the episode. I feel like this one wasn't given too much. We'll see what the next episode brings. It looks a little bit more interesting. Let me know, are y'all Team Chelsea or Team LaToya in this situation? And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.